but then the serpent says to you, you won't die, Monica.
Right.
God knows that on the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened. It will be like you'll have a PhD. And you'll be like God, knowing good and
You can be
evil.
blinder than you were before, actually, after making it through academia.
So would you find that tempting? You won't die.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's my personality is tell me I can't do something and I'm going to do everything I can to do it, or tell me I can't have it and I want it. But I think that's,
Right.
I mean, it may be heightened in me, but I think that's human nature. And that's why, I mean, I kind of, I ask some questions for God here. Why, you created these people. You know what human nature is.
Right.
Why would you set them up like that? Why would you do that?
And then tease them with it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and tempt them and taunt them. Why would you do that?
I think it's a choice that we're sort of subtly, maybe a little passive-aggressively given, but it's sort of a subtle choice. It's like, look, you can live here in utopia. It might get a little boring, but it's a good life. Or you can go against my wishes and taste of the fruit of this tree, and your eyes will be opened, and, but along with that knowledge and that vision that you'll be granted will come some pretty harsh consequences. Is it worth it to you? If it is, that's your choice. You're a free agent now. But, they're really presented with
Because
choices.
there's only sexuality after they eat of this tree, because before they didn't even know they were naked. So
Well-
if you don't even know you're naked, I mean, I have a hard time believing they were hooking up. So it's only by eating of this tree
No,
do they
but-
get to have like sex.
But it actually says they felt no shame. So there was
So if they
there
felt
was
no shame, they
sexuality.
didn't even realize. How
Or
do you get?
you shame and sexuality are not the same thing.
They're not.
No. They don't have to be.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
I can't imagine sexuality without shame.
Really?
Hi.
Yeah.
Are you
I
being serious?
Yeah.
okay.
Can you imagine sexuality entirely free from shame?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it like a mitzvah on Shabbat?
Yeah, but you don't think there's any shame there?
No, I don't associate it with shame at all.
I read these books by Robert Stoller on. He's the premier expert on sexual excitement, and he said without the desire to sin and degrade, it's very hard to be sexually excited.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay. Maybe not shame, but maybe for some people it's an element of the forbidden that needs to be there. Or something that was off limits, maybe because you weren't ready for it, but not because it's shameful. I could see, desire has something to do with, concealing and revealing things that are taken away from you and given back to you. Right? That's how desire functions.
So do you think there was sexuality before they ate of this forbidden tree?
I think that there was sexuality without
But it was
self-consciousness.
pure. It was pure.
Well, no.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's
It was
that's
loving.
perfect, actually,
They're
without
between
self-consciousness.
equals.
Because the eating of the fruit, though, that introduces
Awareness.
self-consciousness, self-awareness into the text.
And
That's exactly right.
awareness can be very painful. A lot of us have a hard time cultivating awareness of things because it hurts, or because there's shame involved sometimes, or all sorts of reasons. But yeah, I think suddenly they were self-conscious about their bodies and the functions of their bodies and the desires that came with being a physical, sexual being. That's a complicated place to be.
So do you think that, Monica, there was sexuality before they ate of the forbidden fruit?
I think probably, but we don't know, and I don't think that that's important. There may
and-
have
Wait,
Well,
you don't think
sexuality doesn't have to-
sexuality is important, Monica?
I don't think that's important to
To
this
the text? Suddenly
It's important
they
to
only
us.
realize they're naked.
Well, there was
sex,
gender.
Sex, nakedness.
There was
nakedness,
gender.
Shame, sex,
There was-
sex, nakedness.
Right, but what does that mean? What
It means they only-
nakedness might not
there was
necessarily
no
be
sexuality.
sexual
If I'm-
intercourse, though.
I
Right,
know,
exactly.
But it's
Sexuality-
Makes
Exactly.
it a lot
Right.
easier.
I can be completely abstinent, but I still I'm a sexual being. Just because I'm not, engaging in sex.
You don't
Doesn't-
think when it keeps talking about, oh, now they discover they're naked, I think that's like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Come on now,
Okay.
governor.
Except that
Governor.
most scholars believe these few verses here were even added later to Genesis 2. Okay, look at 24. Therefore a man leaves his father and his mother and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh. It's as if they tacked that part onto the story to say, and this is why we get married. Right? That wasn't there. There was no such thing as marriage. And then now the two of them, him and his wife, were nude, yet they were not ashamed. It's abrupt, and there's a disconnect there. It's as if somebody later who perceived sexuality as shameful added that part to kind of explain where shame attached to sexuality came from.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think the Torah is pretty right here when it says a man shall leave his father and his mother, cling to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. You can't cling to your wife. I mean, you can't really get married until you've left mom and dad.
Right.
We
Living.
go back to becoming one flesh again too, which is,
Yeah.
beginning what we're told is it's sort of like you start as one, you're pulled apart, and you end as one. But yeah, if everything works out the way it's supposed to, a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife.
Yeah, sometimes that doesn't happen.
I know.
Those marriages don't work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that seems
don't
like
last.
a prerequisite
Yeah.
for marriage is you got to leave mom and dad.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty profound. I mean, it's not often that God gives psychological insights and pronouncements, but chapter 2, verse 18, God says it's not good for man to be alone. I think that's
And we'll make a
really
fitting helper
rare.
for him, and he creates all sorts of fabulous animals,
And they don't get it done.
but they're just not quite the right fit.
But it's not often. I mean, can you think of anywhere else in the Bible where God makes these sort of psychological pronouncements? It's not good for men to be alone.
Is that for sure psychological?
Well, it's
mean-
in part psychological. It's also social, and there's all sorts
Practical.
of implication and practical. Yeah.
He'll be able to multiply probably a little bit better with some help, and he'll be able to master the earth if he has someone else to take care of things at home.
Right, and it's certainly a position of Orthodox Judaism is that single men are a disaster, and you need to get them married off as quickly as possible.
And that is specific to the thought is specific to single men, not single women in the
Yes,
community.
yeah.
Really?
Well, the pressure is on single men to get married. Single women, the community kind of feels sorry for. Single men are thought
At
of
what
as
age
jerks.
Does that
From about
start?
depends on how religious the community, but in all Orthodox communities, certainly by 28, 30.
Okay, yeah.
The more religious, 24. The more religious you get, the younger they get married.
Right.
I love 23 though. The human said, "This time, she is it." This is where all
Is this yours?
those
The human said
Well,
this time.
the man
Mine
said-
says, then the man said, this one at last is bone of my bones.
Monica's got the PC version of the Torah.
No, the human in Hebrew would be what? Ha-adam?
That means the man.
No, it doesn't. It does not mean the man. It means the human.
Adam means the human, not...
I am
always think Adam
99%
meant
sure.
First.
99.
First human? The
Adam.
The name Adam means
Well, we-
like first
we-
human or first
It's
man?
not even... We change it to Adam with a capital A, but doesn't
Right.
Adam, that's like human being. I mean, it's man, like
We're looking at that.
collective. It's man as in mankind, but not man as in the
Since
gender.
the first man, according
Well,
Wikipedia.
That's
Oh,
that's not a
Because that's how we interpret it,
translation
but
of the ancient Hebrew. That's a Wikipedia page saying who Adam was.
Adam, according to a literal interpretation of
No.
Genesis, the first man created by God.
who's
His
the
wife.
interpretation? But, right, that's just it.
Wikipedia.
Interpretation.
You're going to go
Interpretation.
against Wikipedia?
I want to know